Join us on the CEO's Laundry and discover the hidden reality of today's top CEOs. Each episode is an inspiring coaching session where a CEO gains insight and clarity to overcome personal, business, or leadership challenges. Learn to reflect and grow with the behind the scenes of these successful leaders. Hi everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the CEO's Laundry. Today, I'm with Eric Espinosa, who is a successful entrepreneur and LinkedIn content creator who combines his business skills with a love of travel. He was the founder of Venture Validator, a market research firm for startups that sold in 2022. He then helped co-found Coconut VA, a virtual assistant staffing agency, which bootstrapped to 1 million in annual recurring revenue in 17 months. Eric has recently outsourced his role as CEO at Coconut VA to a virtual assistant so he can work on his next project. He's now focused on building Vacation Laptopless, a work-life balance brand that provides retreats for 6 to 8 figure founders. And that's what we discussed today. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I have no idea what you have on your mind right now. So is there a specific topic that you would like to discuss today? Do you have a bunch of ideas at the moment? Where are you at?
I actually don't have any idea.
Okay.
Like I said, I do have a life coach, and so I've talked about a lot of the problems recently that I've had probably the last 9 months, and have worked through a lot of that. Some things where my attention is going to right now is um, I've just delegated the CEO position and now recently the COO position of my company to some virtual assistants. And so I'm working on mentoring with them and trying to figure out uh, how that continue to be successful. Another thing that's important that I'm really focusing probably most of my time is starting another company about founder work-life balance. So I'm going through the customer discovery phase. There probably could be some discussion on the why am I trying to start that company and maybe some of the struggles and frustrations I have uh, as I do the validation.
Um, so let's see it that way. What would you love to create?
Oh, we can get into this one. Okay. So I love travel. I love business. I love founders. Like that's my tribe. I get them. I understand them. My brain thinks exactly how they think. Um, and so yeah, I have a lot of founder friends. And I love the idea of traveling with friends, but the logistics of that is quite difficult. So the business part of me wants to validate this, do customer discovery. I previously had a market research company, so I know how to do all that stuff. And then create a business model out of it that's going to be profitable, of course. So it's not just a charity thing, but it can live on and live on without me. So I want to do that. But I think that there's an underlying thing that I haven't fully explored where I think I actually really just want to travel with friends. And I think I'm creating a business to enable that, but I'm getting frustrated that some of the validation is showing that the business will have to highly cater to parents with small kids, and the types of travel experiences that they would enjoy uh, are usually cruises, and I hate cruises. And then I'm asking myself, do I actually even want to be a part of this company at all? And I think that I'm actually trying to solve a deep-seated problem or deep-seated yearning that has nothing to do with that.
Okay. So what's the challenge in that for you?
Um, I literally only have 2.5 hours of work that I need to do each week. The rest of my week is open to the things that I want to do. I have a six-figure salary that I can collect whether I wake up or whether I don't. So as far as like time and money freedom, I have the independence to go do whatever I want, what is it that I want? And I understand that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So be very, very, very careful where you put that step. I think that Vacation Laptopless is this journey of 1,000 miles I want to go on, but I'm having second doubts.
Okay. Can we explore together the ideal version, the ultimate version of Vacation Topless? Can
Sure.
you let your heart speak for 1, 2, 3 minutes without thinking about the obstacle, what wouldn't
Yeah.
be possible? Like, what is the ultimate desire you have for it?
Okay. So in its ultimate world, I think I'm trying to recreate an experience that I had um, in 2020. So in 2020, an entrepreneurial friend of mine was getting married, and we were out in Sundance, Utah. There was a beautiful cabin. It was probably like, I don't know, $5 million cabin, 3 stories, and it was all the guests were adults, and they were in the ages of 24 to probably 34 years old, and we had an absolute blast. 100% innocent, pure fun, and got to network with other people. Most of them were travelers, most of them had businesses themselves, and we got to be in this luxury mansion. And it was like, wow, these are such cool people, and this is such a fun time. I absolutely loved that experience. Um, I then later that year tried to get people to travel together, and I had this idea of let's go travel to Nicaragua. I found this huge mansion. It's this villa on the beach side. We can get it for fairly cheap. It's COVID 2020. Everyone's working remote, so I had all my now graduated out of college friends. We were going to go out and do that, and it just fell through. Like everyone's like they had their bosses wouldn't let them, or they really didn't press hard enough, or their spouses weren't in a position to do it, and it just fell apart. And so I think I've been yearning for that camaraderie, that experience, and I've semi recreated it. This last month, I went to Colombia with a digital nomad group, 22 other digital nomads, and we lived together and we had some experiences like this. We went and we rented a mansion for a weekend, and it was huge beachside villa, infinity pool, all of that. And it was like, wow, this is what my wife and I have been searching for. This is what we were trying to create. The only thing is like these people aren't entrepreneurs, so they don't fully get me and don't fully have the same life perspective. How cool would it be to recreate that with entrepreneurs? So in an ideal world, I would have a bunch of 7-figure founders that we go off and we do some extraordinarily fun things like, hey, let's go learn how to free dive in Belize for a week. Or, hey, let's go off to India in 2 days of our trip. Let's make it kind of an amazing race, Shark Tank style. And you've got to start a business on the side of the streets. You got $10. Whoever, makes the most money at the end of it, like you get a prize. And then we go maybe on like some like luxury like yacht vacation or go sailing or something like that. And it would mainly be singles with their plus one, so founders and maybe their spouse or whoever their plus one is, and we would just go off and have these adventures. That would be the ideal picturesque thing. We've got like 1 to 2 of these going on per month. The reality is we'll probably be on a cruise ship, on a Disney cruise ship, which is my nightmare.
How long would it last? A week, 10 days, 2 weeks?
Between a week and 2 weeks. So typically probably 7 to probably 10 days.
If you hate cruises, why do you say that it will probably be cruise?
It's not that I hate cruises, it's that I hate kids. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think like the frustration that I'm having is founders are who I jive with, right? But that's not the only decision maker in this. There's actually 2 decision makers because the majority of my network of founders are married with kids. And then when you bring them there now, it's just like a kid environment. different than what I'm trying to recreate. I don't have kids yet, so I don't resonate with that as much. So like, yeah, I mean, ideally, like having spouses, like that'd be great. Having just founders, that'd be great. I'm thinking of having 3 types: founders only, founders with spouses, family friendly. But to be honest, the family friendly ones are just because in order to get enough people interested in it, it probably has to have that group be included.
Okay. So you're kind of willing to put yourself in an experience that you don't want to, simply because you think that it has to happen this way somehow.
Maybe it's because 2 things. One, I do want to create an environment that, my wife and I will have kids maybe in a year, maybe in 2, maybe in 3. And so I don't want to build a business that ages me out. And all of a sudden I have no passion for it because I can't enjoy it with my family. I think it's a smaller thing, and it's more of a long-term thing. It's not the immediate thing. I think the other thing is I think subconsciously, I fundamentally believe that if I can get families out here, even if it's on a cruise, and I can have them experience the benefits of Vacation Laptopless, and that, before 6 weeks before, we're working with the founders to help them delegate something and actually make a change. My hope, I think, is that I can get them in a room with other spouses that are fun and adventurous and living this kind of elevated alternative lifestyle, that they'll realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more if I stop holding my spouse and my family back because of my fears. And that they'll eventually even let they'll have their kids be babysat, and then it'll be founders and couples, which would be really fun. Or maybe they'll even let their spouse go on a founders only retreat when we're going hiking, where it's not really kid conducive and the spouse isn't interested in that either. So I guess maybe it's my hope that I can change someone else, which is a very dangerous thing, that sparks my, okay, I will allow it if it has to be like the gate to get them on the ship, to be able to feel some of the benefits, to then get them to travel the way that I want to travel.
Okay. I hear that you have a plan to have kids in the future. You say maybe in 2, 3, 4 years that will happen. The 2 things you don't right now, and kids are not part of your ultimate ideal version of what you're creating right now.
Right.
Do you have more questions around that? Or do you have 100% clarity around that?
I think that a lot of my time is going to be lopsided I think there's more demand in the founders and family than there is in the other. And I guess that's what just is maybe a bit frustrating to me. I wish there was more demand in the thing that I wanted to do, because then passions beat business.
Okay. Can I mention something that is common for people who have time and money freedom?
Sure. Taxes? Just kidding.
It's a struggle, especially the first 2 years, to easily find something to solve, something to worry about. Not to worry in a sense where it's like, oh my God, but something that takes energy and time to think about, because you have time. Right now, you're in, as you mentioned, you're in a position where you have an automatic 6 figures. So you're bringing together things that you like and things that you love, which is the legitimate thing to do. And what your heart is looking for is that sense of fun, connection, adventure, playfulness. And that's your right. That's your birthright. And you're in a position where you have that time and money freedom, which means that it's a privileged position where your living doesn't depend on that business. It's not that this business has to work in order for me to make money, in order for me to live. You're not in that position. You're in a position where it's like, hey, let's create something new that I love. So you're in a position where you're not taking any risk, or if there is risk involved, it's not a life-threatening risk that could impact radically your lifestyle, your environment, nothing like that. You're in a position right now of, I can do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I feel like I am fully satisfied in life, but I guess I still am on a mission. And I think that mission actually is very connected to Coconut VA. But I made a promise to my virtual assistants that after my co-founder and I receive a 10x ROI on our initial investments of the last 3 years of entrepreneurship, that we would then split profits with them 50-50, and we would have $1 million profit sharing account that essentially goes out to everyone according to the number of hours that they've put in, past or present, to Coconut VA. And so we have this mission that I feel if we don't hit those marks, that Coconut VA is a failure. And I know how much good we can do if we hit those marks. I know that, I mean, people are going to be able to put down payments on houses. They're going to be able to purchase cars, get out of debt. I've met their families. I've met their parents. I've met their grandparents. I know who these people are. I've been in their houses. And I know how much that money can do for good. And I feel like I would be a failure if we didn't reach that point in Coconut VA, because it would have been almost a self-serving thing. It's like, Eric, you got yourself out of poverty, but you didn't help enough people behind you. And like, never mind the fact that we've got amazing wages, they've got benefits, and like everything is over fair for right now. But this is what we've promised them. And this is why they work so hard with us, because they believe in us. And I feel like if I don't get Coconut VA to that point, then we can't enact our next mission, which is then having, I mean, at that point, we'll have, I think, $50,000 per month being overseen by a charity board of Filipino virtual assistants in that country. The amount of good that can happen from that is just, I don't even comprehend that. Like, that sounds very fulfilling, something that, it's a whole new stage of life, of philanthropy that I think would be very satisfying for years to come. And so I think that's why I've been drawn into this idea of creating an organization of founders where we elevate their lifestyles, and that actually elevates the lifestyles of our VAs on the same coin. And so how do you make that impact? Some of this might be happening on a Royal Caribbean Disney Princess cruise.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. We can see the links that you're living through. I've made a promise to people, and I need to live up to that promise. I need to succeed. On a side note, I've been to the Philippines. I have family in the Philippines. My uncle married with a Filipino a few years back, and I visited them in the poor suburbs of Manila. I lived with them, slept on the floor with the cockroach, did the karaoke all day, all night, drank, I don't remember what it was, eat a lot of noodles and spaghettis. I've seen the conditions there, so to acknowledge how good and virtuous of a man you are. And
You're
so the
very much
question in that for you is, how can I live up to what I promised to reach that 10x so that it unfolds a new future for the company that we promised? And at the same time, I make it happen through joy, through fun, through things that keep me alive, where I don't make sacrifices, where I don't compromise anything. There is a
I would be willing to
possibility.
sacrifice. I'd be willing to sacrifice and compromise my job joy to hit that goal. I'd be willing to do things that I'm not interested in doing that ruin my work-life balance because it's a sacrifice for a contained period of time that leads to a benefit of a better good. If I can do it where it's all in one, where I have fun making money, that's awesome. More power to it. But that's not a stipulation.
Okay. Yet, how can you make that happen? There is that exploration of this opportunity here, this possibility here for you where, hey, all of this happened in the best way possible for me. That is also the best way possible for everyone around me. We can create an experience of a week, 10 days that is unique, where you live up to your desire and for others. Where you can go back to Coconut VA saying that, hey, look what is possible. It is possible to help others and follow your heart at the same time. I've done it. I've made it happen. You can too. You can bet on yourself 100%. You can find people who are like you. You can live up to your standards. Sometimes can happen that indeed not necessarily everything happens the way you expected it to happen. Yet there is always that possibility of living up to your standard, going beyond your limitations, and to realize for yourself that what is best, truly best, is what you truly love.
Well, I think I know the answer to that.
What's the answer to that?
I have two things in life that motivate me. One is becoming a better version of myself, becoming the best version of myself. That is a huge fundamental motivator to everything I do. And the second thing that really motivates me is helping other people become the best version of themselves. And I think this comes back to, I have dyslexia, I'm a founder, I have visionary capabilities, like all that allows me to see beyond who I am to who I can be, and also beyond other people to who they can be. And it's very vivid. And so when I see the disparity between where you are and where you can be, I instantly want to help you obtain that. And when it comes to, yeah, I really want to help our virtual assistants to where they can be. And I think to a large part, we've already done that, which is phenomenal. Now, like when you're talking about the Eric way, do I want to do it the selfish way where it's more of my immediate friends that I'm taking on these trips, or am I bringing other people? And it has to be bringing other people. And the reason why is because I see so many parents putting aside their own personalities and their own hobbies and their own lives because they think that it's the best thing for their kids. But in reality, the best thing for their kids is actually that they take up their hobbies, they take up their passions, and they show them what it's like to live a fulfilling life, and that you don't put your life on hold as soon as you have kids and you're waiting for retirement. And I think it's just the same paradox that if you want your business to be successful, you don't work more hours in it, you work less. You vacation laptopless. You totally unplug. And so I want as many people as I can to self-actualize in this world. And I want as many businesses as possible to self-actualize in this world. So it's like, yeah, I could have my, Eric's Founders Club of just my buddies, but I fundamentally do need to create a bridge that I see can happen that helps the burdened parent realize that they're stifling their family's lifestyle because of XYZ limitations. And why don't you just come on one group vacation with us, go on a cruise ship just to start. But then when they're in that environment, they've already left some limitations, we can then work on the next steps and get more people there, which ultimately leads to more VAs. And then also I myself is included on the same boat, and I would have more income attached with all of that. And so that then affects my family. So yeah, I appreciate this. It's been really good. I think it makes me more grounded and solidified that I know what I need to do, and I know who it needs to include, and makes me more excited.
Okay, great. What do you leave this time together with?
I think just a reminder of all the things that have influenced me over the past 6 months that have convinced me this is the next thing I need to do. And just a reassurance that, yeah, don't give up on certain aspects or certain people just because there's resistance there. I say that you can't change people, but you certainly can influence people. And I think I shouldn't throw in the towel and say, well, those people are harder to influence. I think it's very possible to influence them. I don't put expectations that they will be necessarily changed, but I think that given the right examples and experiences in life, there's a lot more than just the founders' perspectives that can be widened here. And I think there's a lot of good that can come from that. So yeah, I think it just reassures me that this is a worthwhile journey and I should do it.
Okay. If you could ask yourself a follow-up question now that there is a level of clarity on that, what could be a follow-up question for yourself?
Do I fully understand what parents actually need, and should I get a co-founder who's a parent that understands my target market better than I?
Okay. That's a great question.
Yep.
Do you have any last words or comments before we end this time together?
No, I appreciate it. I think this is very timely. I've been doing validation calls yesterday and today, and I've got them all lined up for this next week. So no, I'm very excited that we had this chat.
Same. I love this time together. Thank you for being open, for listening actively when it was the time, and for talking actively when it was the time to do so too. I really appreciate our conversation, and I really appreciate who you are. I love this.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you too.